Hello again, everyone. I'm Joe Longinusa, welcoming you to another edition of Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, the show where industry leaders, golf professionals, and legends all come and discuss the great game we love so much. So without further ado, let's turn it over to our host to tell us who's next on the tee. Chris, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Joe. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming back and joining me today again on Next on the Tee. You know, we know you have a lot of choices for shows and podcasts to listen to out there, and we really appreciate the fact that you've chosen Next on the Tee to be one of them. I am your host, Chris Mascaro, and today I have two great friends of the show that I get the privilege of sharing with you. First up is going to be PGA Pro top instructor and co-founder of the Salute Military Golf Association, Jim Estes. Jim, has done so many great things with the SMGA. We're so proud and humbled, at the work that Jim has done for the Salute Military Golf Association, the things that they are doing to help either teach the game or bring the game back to our wounded warriors. Impressive isn't a strong enough adjective to describe the impact that the work that Jim and the SMGA is having on our military veterans. So I can't wait to have him update us on all the great things that they are doing. Jim is going to be with me here in just a few moments. Following him is going to be 2003 PGA champion Shaun Micheel. He's going to be back with me to share more of his insights and experiences with us, plus answer more of your questions as well. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get Shaun to write that book that I'm confident is sitting there inside of him that needs to be put down on paper. So Shaun will be with me later this half hour. So it's going to be a lot of fun today here on the show. It's going to be insightful. You're going to learn a lot of things, and we're going to share a lot of great experiences from two great people, great golfers, and great teachers of the game. So I'm so glad you're here to take the journey with me over the next hour or so. All right, now, Next on the Tee is brought to you today and every week by our friends over at Seymour Putters. I want to get the show rolling by hearing a word from our friends over there.
Golfers, has this happened to you? Great drive, perfect second shot on the green, only to 3 or even 4 putt? Shaking your head all the way back to the cart. I have good news. Help is on the way with the Seymour Putter. The Seymour Putter Company patented RST technology sets up the putter perfectly every time using a visible gun sight on the top line. Genius! It's like locking radar onto the target, in this case, the golf hole, putting the golfer in perfect position to make a reliable and consistent stroke. The 1999 U.S. Open, 2007 Masters, and 2015 British Open champions all used, you guessed it, the Seymour Putter. So if you're ready to make more putts, take strokes off your game, log on to Seymour.com. That's SEEMORE.com and put a Seymour Putter in your bag today.
Yeah, like Joe said, check out the putter technology that helped win now 3 majors and 36 tour events and counting, because this year's men's British Open champion was using a Seymour Putter. It's going to help you make more putts. I know it's helping me. Check them out online. You can find them at Seymour.com, and that's SEEMORE.com, and get one in your bag. You're going to be very glad you did. We are also sponsored by the French Lick Resort up in French Lick, Indiana. Folks, you hear me talking about it every single week here on Next on the Tee, but you want to talk about a spectacular resort to both play golf and to just relax and enjoy yourself. Well, there isn't a better place anywhere on the planet than the French Lick Resort. Go to FrenchLick.com and see for yourself. I had the privilege of taking my family there back in June, and I'm telling you, we're already looking forward to the next opportunity we get to get up there. The resort, it's historic, it's beautiful, got some wonderful gardens out behind it, and a huge, relaxing rocking chair porch out on the front. And the golf, my friends, oh my goodness, the golf. You hear me talk about, right? The Pete Dye course kept in championship playing conditions year-round. They could be ready to host a major championship there at a moment's notice. This year they hosted the Senior PGA Championship and the LPGA Legends Championship. So if you've always wondered, what would it like to be, to play in a major? Well, you can go do it up there on the Pete Dye course. They also have the Donald Ross design course, which is fantastic. It's the site of Walter Hagen's PGA Championship victory back in 1924. They've also got the Valley Links course on the property that dates all the way back to 1907. So the French Lick Resort needs to be on your list of places to stay and play. And oh, by the way, my friends, they've also got a casino right there on the property as well. For more information and to book your stay, go to FrenchLick.com. Also want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Allen Edmonds, maker of top quality and made in the USA shoes. Folks, the shoes of great leaders, from the Oval Office to corner offices to stage and screen and promising cubicles all around the country, are what make people successful. The right footwear is important on the carpets and the hardwood floors of our global economy, so get it right with made in the USA quality and value from Allen Edmonds. Allen Edmonds is an American original. They've been making shoes right here in the U.S. in Wisconsin since 1922. So check them out online. You can find them at allenedmonds.com. We also want to kick off today's show like we do every single week here on Next on the Tee, and that's by saluting the brave men and women serving in our military, in every branch of the military. We want to thank all of you for your daily sacrifices, for what you do to keep the rest of us safe. We also want to thank our veterans for all you've done for us over the years. We truly appreciate the sacrifices that you and your families made for us or are currently making for us to keep the rest of us safe and to preserve our freedoms and our liberties. It's through your strength and your efforts that our way of life is even possible. Our sincere thanks as well to Sean Cruz and all the wonderful folks over at the Armed Forces Radio Network. It's an honor for us to have Next on the Tee be a part of your network. You can find our show by going to armedforcesradionetwork.org. Also want to remind our veterans, please be sure to check out globalvoiceforveterans.org. What a wonderful site with news and articles and a wealth of information designed specifically for our veterans out there. I'm sure you're going to find it both interesting and beneficial for you. Again, globalvoiceforveterans.org. All right, now back with me on the Seymour Putters guest line is Jim Estes. Jim is making his third appearance with me here on the show, and I want to remind you about his background. He's from Washington, D.C., played his college golf at the University of Tennessee and the University of Maryland. Jim won the 1985 Maryland Amateur Championship. He played on the Nike Tour, what's now the Web.com Tour, in the late 80s and 90s, winning the 1989 Greater Ozarks Open and the 1996 Nike Inland Empire Open. Jim also worked as a club professional during that time, winning the 1995 PGA Club Professionals Player of the Year Award from the PGA of America. 2007, Golf Magazine presented Jim with the Innovator Award for the work that he is doing teaching the game of golf to our war veterans. 2008 was a big year for Jim. He was awarded the Middle Atlantic Section's President's Award for his outstanding contributions to the local community. Finished 7th that year in the National Club Professional Championship and qualified for the PGA Championship. And he was named Middle Atlantic Player of the Year. In 2010, he won the PGA Patriot Award. He is one of the top teachers of the game anywhere on the planet. And earlier this year, he played in the Senior PGA Championship, played at the Pete Dye course, as you heard me say, up at the French Lick Resort, which is one of our sponsors. He is also the co-founder of the Salute Military Golf Association, which provides rehabilitative golf experiences for our wounded warriors. And I'm so very thankful to have him with me next on the tee this morning. Good morning, Jim. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. So, Jim, we've been thrilled, to partner with you and the Salute Military Golf Association. We've been promoting it, here on the show for the last several months, all the great things that you guys are doing for our wounded warriors out there. Remind our listeners about the SMGA and update us on some of the things you've been doing since we talked,
Sure.
I think, back in August.
Well, thank you first and foremost for your radio program, because being a small nonprofit, we need folks that are dedicated to helping the military transition and deal with all the things they have to deal with. But what we're doing at SMGA is we're expanding our locations. First and foremost, we're going to hire another person for our office. We have two people in our office right now. Gina Myers is our Director of Communications. She interfaces with all of our donors and all of our members, all the SMGA members. We have 9 locations right now, and we're gonna have 2 more online next year. And we're going to hire an equipment manager of golf programming and equipment. And their responsibility is to make sure all of our wounded vets get custom-fitted equipment sent to them after they do their 6-week either private instruction or clinic series. The American Golfer program that we do gives, and you can sign up on our website. We're happy to do it. We want as many people as we can get to sign up. And if you, through documentation, can show us you're a post 9/11, when I say post 9/11, that means it doesn't necessarily have to be Iraq or Afghanistan that you've been in combat and been either injured or have PTSD or TBI. It can be any overseas operation that you took part in. You just fill out the paperwork, and then we will hook you up with a PGA professional if you want to learn golf. PGA of America is glad to do that, and our American Golfer program has expanded from 90 people to about 150 next year. So once you go through those 6 lessons, you're going to get a custom set of golf clubs, and then we have our golf experiences. So you can go to the Masters, you can play in Monday after the Masters, Pro-Ams, you can on the PGA Tour you have access to. So it's really, if you want to take up the game of golf and have fun with it, we want to be that provider. And so our director of program is going to, we have an executive director, a young guy named Dan Flieger, who is going to work with me as the director of golf operations, and we want to get the equipment out to you guys in a timely manner. So that's going to be this young man's job. He's going to be a PGA professional, probably an assistant professional. He's already had some sort of experience in the golf industry, and in addition to ordering the golf equipment online, he will be going around to the different clinic locations to make sure that we standardize our clinic curriculum, making sure that everybody's getting a quality golf experience, making sure guys are learning the game, they enjoy the game. We don't want to have any bad experiences. We don't want to get anybody injured. We want to make sure our pros understand adaptive golf, understand a little bit about the body, and what to teach people that have disabilities or physical challenges. I don't even like the word disability, because there are many guys with multiple limbs missing that could beat me on a given day. I mean, there are guys that can shoot 75 with one or two limbs missing. So,
wow.
That idea that someone's got a little bit of a physical challenge doesn't stop these guys. So they'll coordinate the delivery and the purchase of the clubs that we order, and through TaylorMade gives us a great deal. I mean, they give us clubs at 40 off cost, and we're happy to have a relationship with them. And we're going to have a couple new PGA professionals that are going to have a clinic series, Yankee Trace in Ohio. Steve Marino is the director of golf. He's going to do a golf program. He's going to have a 8-week clinic series, which is what we recommend for new golfers to get them involved in learning the game and, getting the skill sets you need to really enjoy the game. That's what we want. We want, at the end of the day, people playing golf for life. That's our goal. We want golfers for life. So this director of programming and golf equipment manager, it really is what he is, will be working with me on going around to the different locations and making sure we have adaptive equipment, people are getting, food and beverage and all the good stuff that comes with all the golf clinics, making sure the adaptive equipment that we have, special gloves, maybe a paragolfer, which allows somebody that's got a spinal cord injury to be able to sit in a chair, a hydraulic chair lifts them up in a golf position, and they can swing and hit the ball, assuming their upper body limbs work okay. It's a lot of fun. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and my goal with Judy Alvarez, she's sort of my mentor in this, and guys that in the disabled community that I've worked with, Bob Buck from the Eastern Amputee Golf Association. Our goal, there's 18 million people that want to play golf that are disabled, and we need to get those folks playing the game, and a lot of them are military folks. They're just not, they haven't been exposed to it. So we want to give them no barriers to entry. We want to give them clubs. We want to give them a place to play. And we want to give them, qualified instruction. So that's really the goal, to grow the game.
Correct. Yeah, that's fantastic stuff. I can't say kudos enough to you and the SFGA for all you've established, Jim. And as you talked about a moment ago, you're adding a couple locations. So talk about, where are the locations around the country so that our listeners across the country can find one? Sure.
So we just opened one in Hawaii at an Air Force base. Mo Radke's the PGA pro out there in Hawaii, and we have a guy on our board named Craig Naya, who was an Air Force officer, and he has family out there, and he got that going for us. And we started, so we have a clinic location at Fort Eustis down Virginia Beach area, and we're going to add another one down there for next year at the Naval Base down there. There's the MWR, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation area of the government, really oversees how these gentlemen and ladies transition either from an injured position back into the military or back into a civilian. And so they want to give activities to people that are going to help that transition, and golf is one of them. So we work with MWR, and the naval base down there is huge in the Portsmouth, Virginia area. And then we've got Fort Drum, which is up there. I call it Siberia because it's almost on the Canadian border. Fort Drum is a very cold area. And our current president of the PGA of America at Malone Golf Club, gosh, I can't even remember. How am I doing? I'm drawing Derek Sprague. We started up there in 2007, and Derek did some fundraisers for us, and we've got a nice chapter up there at Fort Drum. And then we've got Fort Bragg and Camp Lejeune. Now, we just partnered with Methodist College, Robbie down there, and Jerry Hogg is the director of the PGM Professional Golf Management Program at Methodist University, which is right next to Fort Bragg, and they did a great job for us doing a clinic series down there. We had 12 people graduate from the clinic series. And then at the Olney location where I work, we had over 100 people, and we had 28 new folks that graduated. That means you have to attend 6 of the 8 clinics, and you're qualified to get your golf clubs. And we have Montgomery County Revenue Authority runs all the public golf courses in Montgomery County, and they give us free access so that all the wounded vets can play golf for a cart fee, no green fee.
Wow.
So that's great. And so Yankee Trace in Ohio is not too far from Columbus, Ohio. And we're looking at another location in Ohio too. But anyway, Steve Marino at Yankee Trace, I played there on the Nike Tour years ago, and it's a great facility, huge practice area. So that we're excited to get that one going for next year. And we've got a location in Boston. SMGA Boston's doing great. Bob Beach is a Patriot Award winner, PGA professional. He also is in the Hall of Fame in the New England section. They've got about 50 guys, and my man Jerry Shanahan, who is just unbelievable volunteer coordinator for us. He's sort of our man on the ground to sort of coordinate and liaison for logistics. I mean, he does everything really. He does sponsorship stuff for us. He gets the pros for us. So SMGA Boston's going great. We have SMGA Dallas, Wounded Warrior Golf Association down there, is another location that is huge for us because of the weather. And Las Colinas Country Club does a great job for us providing that. And we've got PGA professionals down there that are doing a wonderful job. That location's thriving. So let's see, have I left any of them out? I don't think so. So I don't know. We've got 8 or 9 right now, and we're going to have 2 next year. So, yeah, things are going well. And the thing that I want to do is PGA Hope, which the PGA of America decided that this is such an important cause, that is providing golf experiences and opportunities for veterans. They started helping our Patriots everywhere. And Dave Windsor, sort of the national trainer, they're slightly different mission in that they provide opportunities for all veterans, whether they've been injured or not, which is great. And their goal is they want to get 312 VA hospitals. They want to find a golf course and have a clinic location at all of those. Now, they don't provide all the stuff we provide. We provide golf equipment and playing opportunities and all that, but it's a great thing they're doing, and we want to develop a synergy there. And so we're not all working against each other. So the goal at the PGA show down there in January is to get together with all the leaders. There's an Alliance for Accessible Golf. There's the National Adaptive Golf Association. There's the Eastern Amputee Golf Association. There's the United States Amputee Golf Association. There's the PGA of America. There's SMGA. There's Fairways for Warriors. It goes on and on and on, Chris. I mean, there's so many nonprofits. It's like, post 9/11, everybody wanted to help the vets, and so there's something called a CFC number where you get Combined Federal Campaign. If you're a federal government employee, you can donate to your favorite nonprofit. And so we're applying for that. And so there's a lot. It's like, it's just never ending when you we only have 13 or 14 board members and 2 employees, and it's just, we have a monthly board meeting, but it's always something, when you have this many locations and things are going on, it's always something, that. I mean, in any kind of business, you could work 24 hours in your own business and never get it all done. So that's all fantastic stuff, and to your point, with all the different organizations trying to help our wounded warriors and our military, it's never enough, and kudos to you guys for all the things that you're doing, and God bless everyone else that's helping, whether it's the wounded warriors or all of our military personnel in every walk of life. We can't thank all of those organizations enough. That's right.
And one of the organizations that you're working with, Jim, right, is Booz Allen. You guys are going to be doing
yes,
tournaments.
Maria Darby, she's a partner in Booz Allen, and I grew up at Bethesda Country Club. My dad was a member there. They gave me an honorary membership. I'm just so grateful. I never use it because I work too much, but the point is the Booz Allen Hamilton relationship and the RBC relationship we just got this year. RBC signed on, gave us some money, and we're going to be working with them. As you know, how big RBC is in with golf. So we're going to take some of our money that we've socked away, and we're going to use that to make some money. So that SMGA doesn't, we don't have to worry about the viability of the company going forward. They're going to help us with that. So,
nice.
And Booz Allen has raised $180,000 at 16 locations in 16 cities this year for us. And I can't say it enough. And I tell you, I don't do a very good job thanking them. So I'm glad I got an opportunity. I want to say thank you to all, not only the employees, but all the officers at Booz Allen for how dedicated you are to protecting our military operations worldwide. I mean, they do all kinds of things with our defense industry and computer industry, and they just do great stuff. And they employ a ton of military folks. So and they use golf as a team building exercise, and through our programming, they've been able to hire some people. So beyond just the golf is just sort of the activity, but it's all about people building relationships, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have a tournament, right? They've been sponsoring some tournaments. You've had several.
Yeah, we have an annual tournament at Manor Country Club every year. And Jamie Winslow, my co-founder, he works for Sumitomo Corporation, and all of our high school buddies and college buddies, they all come and support us, and we raise about $75,000 we net every year, and that's about, we raise $500,000. So that's a good portion. Almost 20% of what we raise for the year in one tournament. We'd like to get more of those tournaments nationwide. We'd like to get 5 golf professionals that would love to throw a tournament and raise money for us, and that's what we're working on. We're going to work with the Philly section. John Rogers is the incoming president of the Philly section, and at the end of the day, we just want to do the right thing by the military, and what you're doing is great. I mean, being able to give us an opportunity to talk about this, and so we're so appreciative for what you're doing for us.
Absolutely, I'm honored and privileged to be able to do it. As we talk about the tournaments, Jim, you've actually got one coming up next month, right, down in San Antonio, Texas. Talk to our listeners how they can get involved and where that tournament is. Well, you can
go to our website, and you can sign up on our website, smga.org. And we try to send a representative. That's why we have 14 board members. We try to get somebody down there because we want to make sure that we interface with people and let them know, hey, your money, this is where your money's going. I don't take a salary from SMGA at all. We have only 2 employees, and I still teach for a living, and I run my own business, and I do this on the side. And yes, they pay me for my coaching, but I don't take any salary in any way, shape, or form. So about 90% of what we raise goes right back in towards goes towards the purchase of not only golf equipment, golf experiences, golf lessons, and that San Antonio area is going to be huge for us because there's such a huge military population down there. You've got Fort Sam Houston and the burn unit in San Antonio. A lot of the guys that are severely injured go there for treatment, and so we're excited about that. And without Booz Allen, none of that. They put together a strategic plan for us that we've been trying to implement through them. You know, they've just get 120 people every in these golf tournaments, and so that it's helpful. Every little bit helps. And so yeah, if you call our office, you can call Dan Flieger or Gina Myers. She's our director of communications. If you have trouble, our website's in beta testing right now, and so I haven't, I've seen the new website, but it's not ready yet. It'll be ready next week. But if you have any trouble, just call 1-301 500-7449 and talk to Gina. Or just go online, and there should be an application to sign up. Or you can call me directly at 301-807-4458, and I will definitely get you signed up to play if you live in San Antonio. I would encourage you to come out and support our military, because we usually have some wounded warriors that play in the event. And so you get to meet these guys that have used golf as a form of rehabilitation and have been, in a good way affected by SMGA, and so yeah, we want people to get out there and play some golf, and you'll be inspired playing with these guys more than anything else. I mean, to me, it's just amazing some of the things these guys are able to do. I mean, they got all the traits you would want as a competitive player. I mean, they're cool under pressure, they're physically fit, they take direction well, they'll practice. All the things as a coach you just would love to have. These folks, they epitomize a perfect student. So yeah.
Yeah, and I love the video that you guys put together, and you played it this year at the Senior PGA Championship. It showed
really
the impact
well done.
that you're able to have. That was an outstanding video. And
Lowell Fowler, who works for the PGA of America, and Mallory Crossland, she's the director of communications, and she produces all these videos, and Lowell and his camera guy, he's just so talented. I mean, he took us all and interviewed us and put all that into. It just was amazing what he did with that. So I'm grateful to the PGA for bringing to light what we're doing. And I mean, it's not about what I'm doing; it's about what we can do to help these folks. And if I can help in any way, I mean, there are people on my board that are way smarter than me, and I was smart enough to figure that out. So that's the key.
Right. And for any one of our listeners that wants to check out the video, it's very moving, and it really shows the impact that the SMGA is having on our wounded warriors and our military personnel. You can find it on my Facebook page, on the show's Facebook page, Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro. I also posted it out on my Twitter page. It's fantastic stuff. Jim, a couple more before we let you go, and you mentioned just a moment ago. You also do coaching, of people on the side as well. That's sort of your main job while you're doing this. Talk about that.
Sure. I mean, I'm so passionate about it. I teach at a great range, Olney Golf Park. I got a covered and heated tee. I got 2 coaching bays that are heated indoors. It's probably, this morning I woke up, it was 38 degrees. It'll probably be about 55 today. But we have greens that you can hit to. We have an island green, like the 17th at Sawgrass, you can hit to. So it actually simulates a golf environment. So I'm blessed to be able to teach at we have a practice area, and we have a practice hole that's 80 yards long. We have a big putting green that's grass tee. But I'm the high school golf coach at Good Counsel right there in Olney, and I'm really passionate about helping kids. I just got a golf scholarship to Yale, Jordan White's, or at least I helped him. He got it himself. I shouldn't say I got it. He got it. But, just look up JimEstesGolf.com, and if you have any friends in D.C. area, push them my way. I got 2 kids in college, and I can't get them to play golf. My kids won't play golf. So, hopefully that's not a reflection on my teaching.
sure it is not. And Jim, as I mentioned in your intro, you qualified to play in this year's Senior PGA Championship, which was held on the Pete Dye course up at one of our sponsors, the French Lick Resort. Fantastic place. You made the cut. So talk about your experience in playing on that golf course and in that event.
I'll tell you this, and I was so intrigued by the casino and the hotel and the golf course and the story behind it. Pete Dye goes in and talks to the owner, and on a napkin, Pete designs the golf course, and the guy goes, I forget his name, and he's like, yep, that's what I want. I want a major championship here, and I don't care, whatever it takes, you got to bring me a golf course that people are come to see the world's best players. And then I check in the hotel. The hotel's awesome. I go down, and they say, you got to check out this casino and all these underground areas where, the history of Roosevelt and Al Capone and Lucky Luciano, all these different people, and just to walk through there and see these tunnels, and it was just cool. I mean, I'm a big history buff, and so I was all into that stuff, and I'd encourage anybody that it's a 5-star resort. The golf is spectacular. The greens are lightning quick. They're in perfect shape. I won a golf tournament on the Nike Tour. It was a Pete Dye course, Inland Empire Open, and so I'm a Pete Dye fan. Some people aren't a Pete Dye fan, but you can't deny the beauty of the golf course, and the resort does everything they could possibly do to make your experience worthwhile. So I encourage you to go and try it out.
Yes, they do. It's a fantastic place. I can't say enough good things about it. Having had the opportunity myself to go out there and play on the Pete Dye course and to be at that resort, it's absolutely fantastic. So, again, for anyone listening in, as you know, they're a sponsor of the show. Go to FrenchLick.com to book your stay. Jim, before we let you go, give our listeners who may be going out to play this weekend, what's one tip that you think that we can
Sure, I'll tell you a great tip. There's a difference between a competition or a playing mindset and a practice mindset. So keep in mind, don't think about when you're playing golf, don't think about body parts. Think about the target and the feel of the club head. It's been proven through research, if you think about a body part, like move your hip or how's my swing feel at the top, where my hands are, all that stuff is counterproductive. You got to think about the target. You got to think about the club head, what it feels like in your hands. Your hands are your only connection to the club, and at the end of the day, you got to get that club pace aligned perpendicular to the target line, and you got to get the feel of the swing in your mind. So what I try to do is I'll hit a driver, 180 yards, then 200, 220, 240, and then I'll take a full swing at it. And what I'm trying to do is go through the same exact routine that I would use on the course. So for me, I get behind the ball, I see the shot, I feel the swing, and I just and talk myself through the shot. And I would encourage you to get a routine that you can rely on and try to do the same thing every time and target and tempo. And don't think about any body parts. Think about the feel of the swing and what it feels like, or the club head feels like in your hands, and work on your impact feel.
There you go. That's great advice. Jim, how can you remind our listeners one more time? How can they, follow you on social media and then stay up to date with everything you've got going on with the Salute Military Golf Association?
Yeah, so SMGA has a Facebook page, and I would encourage you to like us. Encourage you to like Jim Estes Golf Inc., my Facebook page, and go to the SMGA website. If you have any questions, there's contact information for myself and for our office. I try to tweet, and I'm not great at it. But if you have any questions or concerns about, donations, we have it on our website. You can donate. It's totally secure. We've never had any problems. Knock on wood. And so like the SMGA Facebook page, like Jim Estes Golf, and we want to make golfers for life. So I'd encourage anybody that's interested in golf to try to reach out to a military veteran and just thank them for their service. A lot of guys don't really care about the thanks. They want that they think it's their duty to do that, and that's their job. But I think it means a lot to them, really.
And you can follow Jim on Twitter at @1golfdoc. He's on Twitter as well. Jim, thank you so much for coming back on the show with me again today. It's always a privilege to get to spend some time with you. I hope you'll come back again soon and update us on all the things that you guys have got going on, because it's all fantastic stuff.
Well, I appreciate it, and I love to come here on your show, and I just am, like I said before, I'm grateful for the opportunity that you give me to be able to talk a little bit about what we're doing, because it's huge. So thank you.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Thank you again, Jim. Happy holidays to you and your family. We look forward to the opportunity, hopefully, to catch up with you again real soon.
Yeah, the best to you and yours, Chris. Thank you again. Take care.
All right. Take care, Jim. That's Jim Estes. Again, go to smga.org, Salute Military Golf Association. What a wonderful organization that Jim has co-founded, and the work that they are doing with our wounded warriors. Like I said, impressive is not a strong enough adjective for all the great work that they are doing over there. Please check them out online, see how you can get involved, and hopefully with the 9 locations and the tournaments, there's going to be a place near you so you can get involved and be a part of with some of these great folks. All right, we're going to get to my next guest, Shaun Micheel, on the other side of this word from our friends over at the French Lick Resort.
You just can't beat this weather. The leaves are starting to change. It's the perfect time to get away to French Lick Resort and play the courses the champions play. This year, the Pete Dye course at French Lick has hosted the Senior PGA Championship and the Legends of the LPGA Championship. Play our Donald Ross course and feel like 1924 PGA champion Walter Hagen. Fall is the perfect time to play the courses the champions play at French Lick Resort. Book our Hall of Fame package now at FrenchLick.com.
You're listening to Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, heard around the world on the Armed Forces Radio Network.
Now back with me to answer more of your questions on the Seymour Putters guest line is our good friend and 2003 PGA champion, Shaun Micheel. For those of you who haven't been with us recently, I want to continue to remind everybody about Shaun's accomplishments back in the early part of the 2000s before injury sort of sidetracked his playing career a little bit, because I believe he's one of the most underappreciated players of the 2000s. And based on some of the great comments that I've been getting over the last couple of weeks, several of you do as well. From 2000 to 2007, we all know Shaun won the 2003 PGA Championship at Oak Hill. 3 years later, at the 2006 PGA Championship at Medina, he finished second to Tiger Woods. He had a third-place finish in 2002, so it's not like he came from out of nowhere to win the 2003 PGA Championship, as some folks would have you believe. In all, over the 8-year stretch that we talk about here, he had 17 top 10 finishes, 48 top 25s, and he won over $7.3 million. And let's not forget that he came back from injury in 2010 and had 3 more top 10s, 5 more top 25s, and won over $1 million in that season. So I want to keep reminding golf fans, and remember, and members of our media too, Shaun Micheel is far from a one-hit wonder, because as you can see from his record, there weren't too many players better than Shaun from 2002 until 2010. And like I say, if it wasn't for Tiger Woods, and I know a lot of guys can say this out there on tour, but Shaun would be a 2-time major champion right now. And it's always a privilege to have him back with me next on the tee this morning. Good morning, Shaun. How are you, my friend?
Hi, Chris. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm really well, thank you. So, Shaun, before we get into more questions from our audience, I want to have you remind everybody what's next in the process for you to get back out on tour.
Well, getting back on tour these days is, if you're not exempt, it's a tough place to be. Right now, today I'm just sitting here. I was actually just looking at my iPad. I'm going to Florida in February. I'm going to rent a place down there for 6 weeks. And, last week I was sitting around and I was kind of trying to come up with a plan on what I thought I needed to do. I've been spending a lot more time in the gym recently. And, I think my plan starts with, really at the beginning. And I think that's getting a teacher more involved in the technical parts of my game. So I've talked to Bradley Hughes. If anybody that follows YouTube or not, he's got some great videos out there. He was a player. He's from Australia, lives in Greenville, South Carolina now, works with Robert Allenby. Anyway, so we had talked, and I think right now, that's the first thing I want to do is to try to get back into the technical part of my game, which may entail going back to remedial training, if I'm going to call it that. basically just start over. And I've got plenty of time. And but yes, I do want to get back onto the PGA Tour. I feel like the game has passed me by a little bit, but I would like to kind of get back out there and compete because I think mentally I think I can do it. But the game's changed a lot, and guys are driving it far. The young players are they're winning. They're mentally strong and all that. So I don't want to do it for anyone else but myself. As I've said before, golf can be a very selfish game, and I think we do get caught up in the entitlement aspects. When you're playing well, people want a lot of your time. They're throwing things at you. You're traveling around and on someone else's dime and everything. But I think I'd just like to have this last moment, I think, on the PGA Tour for me. So it's going to entail a lot of work, a lot of practice, and I think that starts with hiring a new instructor, and I think that's really kind of first and foremost on my mind.
Shaun, our first question this week is, Shaun, have you used, you sort of alluded to this a moment ago, have you used a sports psychologist to help your game, and do you see value in it?
Well, I think I have, yes. I mean, I'll answer that part first. Yeah. Yes, I've used one. When I first, I've been on tour a couple of times, and at the end of the 1990s, I went to Morris Pickens, who has really grown his business. He's down there in Sea Island and works with Zach Johnson and, I think all the Sea Island guys, Matt Kuchar, there's a lot of guys. I hate to throw out names, but, I went to his house and a lot of it back then, it seemed like preparation and pre-shot routine and things like that. And I see a lot of that in people, and it gets a little bit maddening and the length of the time it takes some of these players to kind of pull the trigger. And I certainly have fallen prey to that myself. So I'm not, just talking now both sides of my mouth. But I think there is some value in it. You get to a point in your career where you've maybe lost the desire. I mean, you have the desire to play, but you've just kind of forgotten what you did when you play well. And I think what happens is you find that when you start tinkering around with your golf swing, you kind of forget what you were doing when you were playing well, and that kind of creeps into your mental game because, I've certainly spent a lot of time in hotel rooms, just typing in Google searches. I've said this before. I think if people looked at my search history, they'd be probably shocked at the things that I'm looking for. Anything from eye alignment and those types of things. So I would probably write for a few couch sessions. I mean, I might be there for a few hours, but people need different things. People struggle in the competitive part of it. They struggle with finishing tournaments. They struggle with getting off of the first tee. They struggle with their concentration and maintaining that through 18 holes. Are you expending too much energy mentally throughout the day? And those are the things that I found that I was doing. It got to the point where when I wasn't playing very well, and there's been a lot of that. But I would be on the first hole, and I would be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do today. Then I would get to the second hole, and I think, well, that swing didn't work. What am I going to do? So instead of really focusing on a little bit of the pre-shot and then target, like Jim was saying in the previous, call, that I was getting caught up in the technical aspects, of swing and everything else. And by the time I got around to the 18th hole, I was so exhausted just mentally that I was just fried, and I didn't have any desire to go practice because I didn't know what to practice. Then that carried over into my practice sessions at home. I'd go out one day and I'd hit the ball grass. Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to open my stance up a little bit more and try to hit a high draw from there. And, oh, yeah, that would work one day. Then the next day I would try it, I'd lose it. So there's a lot of value in it. I think you have to just be careful and find the right person because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there making a lot of money off of players. And you just have to find what it is that you need, and maybe you don't even know. So it's hard to say, but I certainly have had a lot of thought about going back to it. Now, I've talked to Dr. Rotella before. I've certainly read a lot of his books and stuff like that, but I just kind of always felt like I could fix it myself, and I never really wanted to entrust a lot of this stuff to someone else. And maybe I was just afraid, I don't know, as to what I was going to find out, that I wasn't strong enough mentally to compete at a high level. I don't know, but I felt like, the physical part of the game took precedence over the mental part of the game. And as I've gotten a little further in my life, maybe it needed to be the other way around. So there is tremendous value in it, if you can find, if you can have that person can really find what you need.
And to that point, Shaun, the game can be such a mental grind, and you mentioned that a moment ago, right? We talk about it on the show all the time. You and I have had several conversations about this, about, the mental side of the game and the mental approach, and, how much of it is played, between our ears. But, just to the idea of all the other sort of, influencers or pressures on you, if you're already sort of struggling a little bit with your game and to try to find yourself, and we all find, we weekend hackers, we'll have a couple of good holes, then we have a couple of bad holes, and you try to bring yourself, back into the game and, not sort of to lose it mentally and let the round get away from you. But on top of all of that sort of stuff and the swing thoughts and these sort of thing, and then when you've got, guys out there where, the Keegan Bradleys of the world that have these incredible pre-shot routines, and now the slow play is slowed down and all of that sort of stuff. How do you come back, or how do you try to not let that get in the way, and then really just sort of enjoy the scenery, enjoy the round, and enjoy the people that you're with? How have you been able to try to get yourself grounded again and block out all that other stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of it out there, and you see all the people on the outside of the ropes, and next thing you know, you've hit a foul ball over there, and now you're embarrassed. You're hearing all the snickers and all the things.
Right.
It's hard to kind of come back to neutral. And I'll just say this, that a strong mental game does not guarantee any type of success. You still have to have the talent and the physical abilities to play. You got to have a good foundation in your golf swing. But when you achieve a certain level and you're not playing well, and your teacher's like, your swing looks the same, then you got to try and figure it out mentally. It is difficult to block everything out, but you have to, results, and you have to have confidence. I think confidence comes from really good results. I mean, you can go out there on the first tee and believe that you're going to win the tournament, but the moment you make your first double bogey, it's kind of shot. So, it's hard to say. It just, you have to find a way to entrust in all of the things, all of the preparation. You hear this on college football. As I'm sitting here watching College Game Day, you talk about the preparation. I've always talked about the fundamentals of the game. So I believe a lot of the mental side comes from the physical side. I don't care how strong you are mentally. If you don't have a good foundation of the golf swing, you're just not going to play well. I mean, look at Charles Barkley. I mean, I remember the show that he did with Hank Haney. Someone like that, probably very strong mentally, was very successful in what he did. But there's no way he could take that on tour. And look at Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus has gotten older. You think mentally he probably hasn't changed any, but he just doesn't have the physical attributes really to compete. So you have to have both to achieve a high level of success. There's been a lot of us that have had a little bit of success out there that either weren't able to sustain it for whatever reason, and then those guys like Tiger and Phil that have this ability to really shut everything out. I suspect that guys, you look at Michael Jordan. They talk. You see this with actors. You meet a guy or a lady, and she plays a villain or something on TV, and they're not who they are on screen. Or you meet the nicest person on screen, and they're not like that. So there are challenges and hurdles that people have to overcome, when they're at the highest level of their game. And for those of us that have never been there, we don't really understand, just what they're thinking and how they've been able to be so successful. But I've kind of gone on a little bit about it, but it's you just have to kind of find a way to get back to center, get back to neutral, and and I think a great mental mind comes from great play. I don't know. I mean, I might have the cart before the horse, but once you spend a lot of time on the range, kind of honing your craft, then I think it's time that you can start devoting some time to the mental side. But it's challenging. I don't really even understand it, to be honest with you. I know the practice of visualization, has been studied in all sports. You see guys that struggle with their free throws, and they take these lasers and they basically draw the guy shooting the free throw sees a laser going from his hand to the hoop at the right elevation. So there's a lot of things that the mind can let you do if you just let it. And my goals are always to try to figure out a way to play Thursday through Friday like I played the Wednesday Pro-Am. Never could do it. Maybe a couple times. It was just too difficult. I couldn't just put a tee in the ground and just swing. I always had to be thinking about something, and it's hard to play golf that way.
And Shaun, as you mentioned early on here, you talk about if you make a double bogey and now maybe you're out of contention or out of the golf tournament. And we all do this too, obviously, as hackers. We're going around, we're trying to break 80, trying to break 90, whatever it is. We have a goal set for ourselves during the day, and if and when the round goes sour and we realize we're not going to make that goal for you, if you're not going to make the cut or get into contention, does the focus change for you? Does it become hey, I just want to get out of here and let me just finish this round and move on, or do you reset in your mind a goal for the day and say, all right, look, I'm not going to make whatever it is? And now, do you go into like practice mode, or does it change that way, or is it just let me get out of town?
Yeah, I've felt that way for sure. I've certainly felt like when things Thursday or Friday, usually on Friday, if you think you're not going to make the cut, it's hard to stay in there. But I think you owe it to the fans. You owe it to yourself first, but you owe it to the fans to go out there and give 100% commitment. And it's hard to do. I've certainly been the person that just went up and just hit it. But you got to respect the game, and you got to respect your playing partners because they may be playing well or fighting to make the cut. But certainly when you make the cut and things aren't going too well, and I've said this before, that a lot of people make a lot of winning golf tournaments, and certainly that is the most important kind of part of it. And we're all out there trying to win, but we also are out there making a living. That is how we make our living. And there comes a point, I think, in a golf tournament when everybody realizes, not everybody for sure, but when you realize that you're not going to win the tournament. And that's where you got to try to figure out, how can I finish in the top 10? You're playing for so much now. You're playing for not only money, but you're playing for world ranking points. You're playing for FedEx Cup points. And so there are reasons, or there are things out there that you need to kind of hang in there for, because every dollar matters. And I think I took a lot of pride for me when on Sunday, if I wasn't playing well, that my goal was to try to shoot the lowest score on Sunday of anybody. And I understand that moving up from 70th to 40th, if you finish 4th, isn't great, but to move up at all and to have the energy and the passion to try to play well on Sunday, as opposed to just tanking it and getting out of town in 2.5 hours. I take a lot of pride in those things, because there was one year I finished, I did that 4 or 5 times where I had the lowest score on Sunday. And, made a little bit of extra money, but more to the point that I felt good about, being out there and giving 100%, because it's no fun to go out there and watch somebody that just is backhanding putts and doesn't really care, and is all he cares about is, you know, getting on to the next week. And you might mentally feel that way. You just can't outwardly show that. And but I've certainly done that, no doubt. But you know, just got to take a lot of pride in yourself, and there's always something to play for.
There you go.
You know, and the tour, what's the tour say is every shot counts, every shot matters. And it really does. I mean, I think go back to, it's probably been 15 years ago now, maybe a little bit longer. But I remember Billy Andrade missing out on the tour championship by $5. And that was probably late 90s. Yeah, so that's kind of hard to imagine when you have a purse. You know, the purses are, you know, in excess of, you know, well, back then probably 150 million. Now they're somewhere up around probably $300 million in purses probably. So you know, you gotta fight for that, and it's easy to go back and look at shots. I mean, sometimes it could be the first hole of the very first tournament you play that year. You get out there and just start throwing shots away, and you're like, it's no big deal. It's the first tournament of the year. And then you come to the end of the year, and you either haven't kept your card, or you miss out by $5, or you don't get into the invitationals. And so it's important, and that's, again, where the mental side of it comes in, that you just cannot afford to just throw in the towel at any point in time. And if you ever feel that way, it's time to go home. Yeah,
no, that's a great point. You know, we think about, you know, guys that, you know, have lost the tournament by a stroke, or may have, you know, bogeyed or worse on a hole, that have lost out, you know, on a golf tournament or winning a golf tournament. But, you know, to your point, you know, it's got to be equally as eating to you, as you mentioned in the example with Billy Andrade, to kind of get back towards the end of the year when things, whether it's FedEx Cup points or, you know, getting into a golf tournament, whether it's a major or something, you know, in the playoff now. If you look back on that and you are just on the cusp, and to think, you know, boy, I mailed it in back in April or May in a golf tournament, and if I had just made that extra $5 or had one more stroke, you know, boy, it's really come back to bite me. That's got to be hard to live with, just as much as losing out on a golf tournament or missing a cut.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have a stat that I keep. I just call it throwaway shots. And you know, I look at scoring type clubs. You know, 7-iron down to the sand wedge, where, you know, I feel like, you know, I made a bogey somewhere that I shouldn't have made, either by being too aggressive or just a poor thought process or whatever. And you know, you see a lot of that on par fives. You know, where a guy gets tempted, he can reach the green and he's tempted to go for the green, and he does, and you know, makes a poor swing, hits it in the water, or makes a silly bogey. Those are the shots that I call throwaway shots, you know, and I've certainly had a lot of those lately. I didn't have a lot of that when I was younger, and I think just because I was so mentally in tune to my game. And the other thing that I've noticed about me is I've gotten a lot more conversational, I think, on the golf course in the last 4 to 5 years, you know, and I don't necessarily think that's a great way to play either. You know, I think it's okay to acknowledge your playing partners and have a little bit of conversation, but I certainly have noticed that I've gotten a lot more friendly on the course. Not that I was, you know, unfriendly to play with or unpleasant to play with. I just, you know, I remember just playing. It goes back to college days that I was playing, and that was it. I would acknowledge your shot and everything else, but I didn't really care, you know, to talk about, you know, injuries and health and family and all that other stuff. And, you know, maybe I've just relaxed a little bit, and, you know, that's the type of golf that I want to play now. I don't know, but it's hard to be on top of your game and, you know, be wanting to win and beat the other guy, other guy's brains in without, you know, and all of a sudden you're out there talking about, you know, the football game that was on last night. I mean, those are the types of things that probably for the locker room and maybe the range, and certainly after the round. But I think during the round, I think it's just, you know, that's why I always kind of felt like it was a lonely game, because it was just you and your caddy out there. And
right.
But there's certainly a lot of it that, a lot of things that the way I used to play that, you know, I kind of just remember that probably that's why I was playing so well. And It's okay now. I'm fine. I enjoy conversation as much as anybody, but I think it takes away from some of the things that you're trying to do.
Shaun, one of the followers I noticed that you have on Twitter is Gary Player, and you've talked about some of the opportunities you've had to be around the legends of the game through the course of the time that you've been with us on the show. But talk about your relationship with Mr. Player and maybe some of the advice that he has shared with you over the years.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you kind of get out there and are playing on a regular basis. You're getting a chance to play in some major championships. I mean, obviously the age difference between us is nearly double. But I met Gary, I think at of course I had seen him around, when I was younger on tour, and I'd watched him play here in Memphis when I lived at Colonial Country Club when they had the old Danny Thomas Memphis Classic, which has become the FedEx St. Jude Classic. And so I've always watched him, and I know a lot about his story, his travels and everything. But the first time I ever really got to spend any quality time, to borrow a term, quality from Les Miles, he loves that term, was the Masters in 2004. It was my first Masters, and he was hitting some chips. The practice facility was totally different then, and they redid it about 3-4 years ago. But we were just over on the side there, and the chipping green and hitting some bunker shots, and I was watching Gary, and I actually have some pictures that my wife had taken of us in the bunker, and we were just working on different shots, and he was just showing me a lot of things, not so much about how to play the golf course, but just basically how to hit certain shots. And I've seen Gary quite a bit over the years, and I enjoy what he has to say. I certainly, I know, Wayne. I haven't seen Wayne in a while, but I know, his family a little bit. But he's an interesting man, and has really done a lot for the game. And I enjoy listening to him. I enjoy his stories. He's got such a vibrant personality at his age. It's incredible. And but it's just a great man. And I just enjoy talking to all those guys. Matter of fact, when I won the PGA and I was defending, and I was hosting the dinner at Whistling Straits in 2004. The champion gets to ask two people to kind of speak on his behalf. And I thought a lot about it. It was who I was going to pick, and I had Dow Finsterwald speak and Tiger Woods speak. And basically I did that because I enjoy the game and where it has evolved from. And I had him Dow speak on kind of what golf was like back in the 40s and 50s and really how it's evolved. And it was those are the types of things that I enjoy talking, with Gary about, the technology, and even Mr. Nicklaus, I like to talk to him about that stuff. So it's just fun for all of us to kind of learn the history. Some people get I'm a history buff, much like Jim, and anytime I get a chance to meet up with a World War II veteran or someone like that, I like to pick their brain. I love to read about, love history and everything. So as far as my conversations with Gary, it's usually not so much what's going on in the current state of golf, but much like kind of how it's changed.
And it's interesting that you mentioned hosting the dinner, because that's one of our questions this week is, Shaun, what was on the dinner menu when you came back to host the dinner at the 2004 PGA Championship?
Yeah, well, you know what? That was a no-brainer for me because my good friends that own the Rendezvous barbecue company here in Memphis, they came up and hosted. They flew up and we had ribs and chicken, and we had all sorts of baked beans and potato salad and coleslaw. I mean, there was I was more worried about the vegetarian side, and I think we had some vegetarian dishes. But they came up and did that, and it was a hit. I think I bet. I was really nervous. I was nervous about that dinner, really. Because again, it was my first time to be. And I'd played with these guys before and everything else, but as I said maybe a couple of weeks ago, I had now joined an elite club, a fraternity, if you will, of major champions, and I just didn't really know how I was going to be received. And maybe today I still don't, but I think being around some of them and getting some acknowledgement, of the accomplishment settled me down a little bit. But I certainly enjoyed my gift to everybody was, Gibson electric guitar, which is actually they've got one down in the Hall of Fame. And yeah, well, for all the officers and all the players, yeah. So
wow.
the defending champion gives out a gift, and also so does the wife. And that was something else that was new for 2004. Every other champion's dinner up until mine was done separately. The women hosted one and the men hosted one. And my year was the first year that they had both men and women, which was of great comfort to my wife, Stephanie. A very outgoing person. But anyhow, so that was pretty exciting to be able to host that with her as well. But so, yeah, I mean, everybody gives out a gift. She gave out a gift, and, trying to keep in ties with Memphis, Tennessee, which is, I picked the Rendezvous and then Gibson Guitars. The Gibson Guitar Factory is downtown Memphis, right next to FedEx Forum. And so you can search online. You can type in my name and type in Shaun Micheel Guitar PGA or some innocuous thing like that, and it'll come up. And I think that was a really big hit, because guys like Tiger and, of course, John Daly, he plays, we both play guitar and stuff. So, matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now, and it was really cool. And, I'd certainly love to win again. I don't know what I would give out next time, but I'll find something maybe.
It's hard to top that.
No, that was, maybe I'd go with an acoustic guitar. So, anyway, it was pretty cool.
Indeed. Shaun, our next question is, Shaun, what is it about the Champions Tour that you're looking forward to? Is it just being back out on tour? Is it the competition? Or is it the camaraderie with the players?
Yeah, I think a little bit, a combination of all those. I looked at my good friend Todd Hamilton, who just turned 50 in October, and he's played one event. And, we travel a lot to Europe, kind of when our exemption was up here in the States. And, I think just to get out there and play competition, the golf courses, I think I still have some length. Todd still has some length because we've stayed pretty competitive and play every day. But when you walk into the lunchroom on the tour events now, you don't really recognize anyone. There's a few guys they're still managing to play well, but you see the changing of the guard, and But I look forward to kind of getting out there and just playing. The competition has always been there, but I think the camaraderie and playing with guys that I played with and kind of my proteges, I think we broke up. Anyway, so I think just the competition really is probably first and foremost, but also to get out there and maybe play a little bit more of a schedule. I mean, I haven't played a schedule in a few years. The Champions Tour is really out there, I think, to not kind of send you off on your way, but as you see now just how competitive these guys are, the numbers that they're shooting. I mean, Bernhard Langer has done so many incredible things. It's amazing that as competitive as he is, I think he could still compete on the regular tour if he found the right golf course. But golf courses have gotten so long, and that doesn't make for a lot of fun. So I spent some time at Champions events with my good buddy Lauren Roberts, and the golf courses are set up tough. I mean, they're not cakewalks by any means, but I think just getting back out there and playing with guys that that I grew up with and that I played with, for all of my career, that's probably what I look for most.
Shaun, let's talk about a couple of things, off the golf course, if you will. I know in the past you've been approached by some folks, whether in the media, whether at the Golf Channel or other outlets, to be a commentator, that sort of thing. Is that something you're considering for 2016?
Well, I don't know. I had a talk, a discussion with someone at the Golf Channel over the summer. It was back in June, and we were talking about it. And at the time, I was still so uncertain about what was going to happen and with my playing. And I did get in a few events over the summer, which I enjoyed. It's a commitment, I think, because I still mentally want to get out there and compete. I don't know how well I do. I think there'd be my brother-in-law runs 2 news stations in West Palm Beach, and I've tried to pick his brain a little bit about kind of what it entails. Certainly, I get a little long-winded in my interviews and my answers, and so I would have to rein that in quite a bit. But I enjoy golf. I enjoy talking about golf. Anyone that asks me a question, I'm there to answer. I certainly have the experience. I've been out there long enough. I know really how the tour runs and what guys are thinking out there. I just hadn't been able to make a commitment to that. And to be honest with you, I haven't thought about that in a while. But I did have some conversations about getting down there. Now, there's one thing I'd like to do. One of the producers sent me a message the other day, and there's a golf show that's going to be launching here pretty soon, and we had talked about maybe coming down there and doing some things. But I haven't thought about that much, lately in the last couple of months. I love all the golf shows. John McGinnis is a good friend of mine, and we played a lot of golf together on tour, and he does a great job with Katrick and McGinnis on tap, and I'm just not ready to make that commitment quite yet.
Our next question, Shaun, is the media often asks players negative questions trying to get you to say something controversial or to twist your answers around. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, I suppose so. I think a lot of that centered around, kind of my use of, hormone replacement therapy in, when I was going through kind of the low T and all that when drug testing first started. And it was interesting that you mentioned Gary Player, because I remember in 2007 we were at Carnoustie for the British Open. And there was an article that came out. I don't recall what day it was. It might have been during the practice rounds. I think it was a Monday or Tuesday. It was an interview that Gary had done about the use of drugs or PEDs in sports. And, Gary firmly believed that there was, I don't know if he said significant drug use, PED use on tour, but that it was there, it was present. And splattered along the page of the Scottish newspaper was a picture of me, and it somewhat insinuated that I was kind of the leader of the pack. Now, my wife being an attorney, there was a lot of, I can tell you, there was some legal stuff that was going on behind the scenes. Because it insinuated that, I was the one that was kind of, doing all this stuff. And Gary never mentioned me by name, and I don't think he meant. I think that the person, I was out there in the forefront, probably was the first person to have received a therapeutic use exemption for the use of a banned substance. And, testosterone seems to be the granddaddy of all of them. And so it was easy, I guess, to pick on me. So I spent a lot of time with media training because I represented a company that provided these products for people for men in need. And, there were a lot of questions that I got, that centered around, the use of testosterone, the use of anabolic steroids. And, of course, I was taught pretty quick early on not to answer those types of questions. I mean, I'm certainly no doctor, and I never advocated, or my answers were never really advocating any of that type of use for anyone or everyone or whatever. But
I had to be careful in the way that I answered certain questions because, journalists are good. Some of them are really good. They can make you look like a fool, and you start trying to answer questions and you don't really know the answer, and you get all fumbled and everything else. So most of the time, anytime I got a question, with any type of controversy, it was centered around that. That's really what sticks out in my mind. But, I don't know. You see a lot of no comment. Everybody has an opinion, whether it's on immigration or whether it's on, who you think the next president is going to be, or religion, or what's going on in the Middle East. Everybody has an opinion on almost every topic that's newsworthy. And almost 100% of us are probably not going to answer because it doesn't do you any good. You have relationships with sponsors. You have potential relationship with sponsors. Unless your career is over, there's no reason to get into a lot of this stuff. And so most of us don't. And it's probably wise not to. And I think it frustrates people, because they want to generate. And the other thing that goes on out there are a lot of these polling type questions. There was one that they were talking about who's the person that you'd least likely help in a barroom fight, and I think Bubba Watson was the answer. And why do you answer these questions? I some of the polling questions, like what's your favorite course? Rank the best course, rank the worst course, rank the best restaurant on tour. Those types of things are okay. But I think when you get into the negativity, of asking, players about other players, man, you're on a slippery slope there because, you have to play with these people. And even though they're anonymous, it doesn't take a whole lot for someone to figure out who said what. And it's just best just to kind of keep all this stuff to yourself. And but like every other person in the world, we all have opinions about things. And some people share your opinions, and some people don't. So you have to tread very carefully.
And kind of along those same lines, Shaun, our next question is, what's the dumbest question a member of the media has ever asked you?
Oh, God.
By the reaction, I'm guessing there's been a ton.
I don't know. Some of the stuff, again, goes back to, when I first, was asked about, my use of testosterone, and that goes back to Chicago. I think, I can't remember what year it was. It might have been 2005 or 2006, and people had seen a change in me in the way I was playing, the way I was communicating with people, and and that kind of started the ball rolling. But I look at a lot of the questions that people ask me, are pretty much in tune to what's going on. I don't find the media at golf events. You'll see people at, like say, the Super Bowl. You'll see that here in about a couple months. Well, they'll have the media day, and they'll just have some guy that just goes in and asks some, stupid question on, but I don't find that so much in the media and the golf. I think there's very knowledgeable. It's a small group of people that cover the game, and they seem to be very knowledgeable. And I think for the most part, golfers are by and large got to be one of the most educated group of athletes, that you really come across. And I'm speaking more of college degrees and those types of things. A lot of these sports, look at tennis. A lot of these kids, they get to a high level at 17, 18 years of age, and not that they're not intelligent, but anyway, I can't think of anything really offhand that people have asked me that was just really kind of off the charts. People have asked me about my wife, my children and stuff like that. And a lot of those questions I just kind of dismiss because it doesn't have anything to do with golf. So I can't really think of anything, off the top of my head. It was just, and I don't pay attention to a lot of that stuff. So I guess I'm kind of dismissive of it to a certain degree. And, and to be honest with you, I'm not someone that's ever really generated a lot of interest because, you see the guys, Jordan, of course, Tiger and Phil, that have their regular press conferences. I can't imagine some of the stuff that they get asked. I know Phil is a very witty person and seems to answer some of these questions with a lot of humor and some self-deprecation. But for me, I just can't think of anything that's really off the wall, just absurd that people have asked me.
Well, I guess that's good news. So just a couple more, Shaun, before we let you go today. Last question that we'll go over is you've talked about the love you have for flying in aviation. Is being in the air, flying, is that the place where you find peace?
Oh, I would say so. I love it so much. I said, about a month ago, I think on your show that I just the smell of jet fuel kind of gets me going. I really do. A friend of mine, he's a 757 captain for FedEx, and he took a picture yesterday. We're both hunters, and he took a picture out of his window at about 30,000 feet going to Lubbock, Texas, and showed me all the water in Arkansas. And I hunt with pilots. I'm surrounded by pilots with my father, and I just want to talk planes nonstop. I just I think that was really my calling, to be honest. I fell in love with it at an early age. I spent a lot of time with my father in the flight simulators. I think I started going when I was about 8. There's usually 2 days of check rides, and I would go the first day, which was more of a training type session. And then they would let me fly the planes. So I've really been kind of flying those and been around those planes since I was about 8. I love it. I really do. I've been fortunate. I've got to fly in an F-15 and an F-18. I've gotten to fly a lot of different airplanes. I just love being around planes. I love talking planes. I just think that was really my calling. And, I think had it not been for my golf coach in college, Sam Carmichael, who really kind of spurred me on to great things in collegiate golf, I think that's probably being an aviator would have been the path that I would have chosen. I mean, my freshman and sophomore year, I kind of was spinning my wheels, and I was a good player, and who knows if I'd have made it on the PGA Tour. But it was really Sam Carmichael that not only, kind of worked with me and got my physical game in shape, but he just really gave me the belief and the confidence that I could compete and play on the PGA Tour. And who knows, we didn't know when. I mean, was it going to be a year after college? I mean, I was an All-American my senior year, but look at Phil and David Duval. These guys were All-Americans, and they were destined for greatness. And so, I got to a point in my college career that I was going to have to make a choice. And I still did continue to fly. I haven't flown really solo by myself in a few years. So, it's not that I couldn't go back to do it, but I think a lot now with the pilot shortage and guys are talking about that. It's like, oh, am I too old to start to learn to fly again, to get out there? And it probably is. I probably am. But I love it. I mean, we could talk all day about planes and how they work and why they work and, the planes that I've flown on and I just love everything about it. It's just it's a passion that I have, and I'll always have that. I always will. And I always kind of wondered too what would have been like had I chosen a different career path. And being an aviator, being a golfer is kind of afforded me the opportunity to fly in private planes and to fly in the cockpit and that. Certainly if I'd have just been a regular aviator, I wouldn't have ever been able to fly or meet the people that could have gotten me into an F-15 and an F-18. So golf has afforded me that opportunity, and I'm appreciative of it. But I do wish kind of what would have been like going to work right now and flying an airplane. I suspect there's a lot of work things that I probably wouldn't have liked about it, but kind of following my father's footsteps would have been pretty cool as well.
And Shaun, one more here before we let you go this week, and it's something that you and I have chatted about, and we've talked about you potentially writing a book one day. I think there's a great one sitting inside you that's waiting to be put down on paper and would be very valuable to a lot of people to read and kind of get an insight and a further understanding of the things that you've gone through and the successes that you've had and the challenges that you've had over the course of your life. Is it something you're seriously considering?
Yeah, I mean, I've been keeping notes really for a couple of years, and you're certainly not the first person to have asked me that. I have a caddy that I've worked with for quite a while that's asked me the same thing, and as I've said to you and to him, that there's a great story in all of us. And as when I emailed you the other day, and I think trying to get the proper message out there, and try to use. I mean, look, my career, I've not had a Hall of Fame career, and I'm okay with it. I really am. I just think trying to get the right message out to people in a positive way, because certainly there have been a lot of things that we've discussed on this show that have been very negative, and I've been very open and honest about those types of things. But there have been so many great things that have happened to me in my career, so many great relationships and friendships. But again, trying to get the right message out to the young people. Who am I writing the book for? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think at some point maybe I'll do it. I just don't, there's a lot of things about writing a book that I don't know anything about, and that's, finding a publisher and those types of things. I don't think that would be very difficult. But, I live with myself every day. My wife lives with me every day. And she's like, what are you going to write a book about? I'm like, you know what? You've known me since I've known my wife since she was 12 years old. So she already knows the book. She's lived the book. But again, it's just about getting the right message, the right positive message out there. Would it be written for, for kids that are looking forward to maybe an opportunity to playing professional golf? Just what it's like. And I just don't know that message, yet. And, I certainly appreciate the questions that you gave to me the other day to generate, my thought process and everything. So I'm seriously considering about it. I just don't know when I'm going to be able to do it.
All right. Well, we hope you do find the time, because, like I say, I think there's an important message and an important book is just kind of sitting there waiting for someone to put it down on paper, and I hope you're the one to do it, and we look forward to hopefully the opportunity to talk more about that, because I think it's there. You just got to get it out.
Right, and I think it's just kind of like writing a song. The big things of these songwriters is finding the hook, and what is that hook for me? I just don't know. But again, I think all of us we've all had, our lives are challenging, and there's a lot of things that happen to us, good and bad in our lives. And so, like I said, for me, trying to be able to get that message out there, to give some benefit to someone, that's really what I'd be looking forward to, is to try to, spur people on to become philanthropic. I love what I do with Make-A-Wish, and so there's a lot in there about them and being around these young people, these families that are afflicted with these horrendous illnesses.
Right.
I really take a lot of pride in that. And so what message am I going to convey? I just don't know, and it needs to be a positive one, because golf's been great to me. And if it were all to end today, I think I'd be disappointed a little bit in some of the things and the way it ended, but there have been way more positive things, about my career than the negative.
Well, there you go, and I couldn't agree with that statement more. Shaun, before we let you go, remind our listeners how they can follow you online and over social media.
I'm at Shaun Micheel PGA for Twitter, and Shuan Micheel on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. And I'm out there, so just ready to get some questions. I haven't gotten any questions in a while directly. So I did when we first started this thing. I got a few, but I haven't lately. So I'm happy to answer any and all.
There you go. Shaun, thank you for taking time to join me again this week. Always a privilege getting to spend some time with you and talk to you and hear about your experiences and your insights. We look forward to catching up with you again either next week or as your schedule allows, because it's a lot of fun, and I appreciate you being a part of the show.
Yeah, Chris, I love it. It's been a lot of fun, so I'm happy to be on anytime with you.
All right. Take care, Shaun. All the best to you and your family. Look forward to catching up with you again real soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Take care, Shaun. That is 2003 PGA champion Shaun Micheel. And let me tell you one more time about, what a fantastic part of the 2000s that Shaun had. Again, over an 8-year stretch, 17 top 10 finishes, 48 top 25s, won well in excess of $8.5 million, in the early part of the 2000s. And like I say, he finished second at the 2006 PGA Championship at Medina. So if it wasn't for Tiger Woods winning that championship, Shaun would be a 2-time major champion. So, above all of that, what a great individual Shaun is. All right, my friends, it's time for me to put a bow on this episode. Before we close up shop, for those of you, who joined in late, I want you to hear again, about, our friends over at the SMGA, the Salute Military Golf Association. Jim Estes joined us at the beginning of the show. Powerful message. They're doing such great things. I want you to hear about it one more time.
The Salute Military Golf Association was created to provide rehabilitative golf experiences to the brave men and women who have been wounded while serving our country. Hi, I'm Jim Estes, PGA Golf Pro and co-founder of the Salute Military Golf Association. With my adaptive golf program, we've successfully helped thousands of soldiers in their recovery, both mentally and physically. The SMGA has been providing family-inclusive golf experiences across the country since 2007. To date, the SMGA has equipped more than 1,000 warriors with properly fitted golf clubs and has extended its clinic series to more than 8 chapter and affiliate locations across the U.S. If you are a wounded veteran interested in participating, or if you'd like to learn more about the Salute Military Golf Association and find a chapter closest to you, visit our website at smga.org. We've seen firsthand how impactful golf can be in aiding one's recovery. The Salute Military Golf Association, empowering wounded veterans one fairway at a time. Visit smga.org. That's smga.org.
Yeah, they're doing such great stuff. And you heard Jim at the beginning part of this week's show talking all about it. So please look them up, see how you can get involved, smga.org. All right, my friends, it's time for me to put a bow on this episode. My sincere thanks to Jim Estes and Shaun Micheel for joining me today and for making today's show so much fun for me to be a part of. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Please check out our sister show, Thursday Night Tailgate, with me and my co-host Bob Lazari, our announcer Joe LaGianusa. That show airs live every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us all across the net on Blog Talk Radio, the Armed Forces Radio Network, iHeartRadio, Podbean. We're just about everywhere. Please, every single week we talk with great legends and stars from around both the NFL and the CFL as well. Please check out both shows on Facebook. Give us a like. That's important to us, too. You can find us online, and you can find this show on Facebook. Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, Thursday Night Tailgate, like I say, on the football side. Online, you can find us at nextonthetee.net and thursdaynighttailgate.com. You can stream or download any of our archive episodes for free, plus keep up to date with who some of our future guests are going to be by going to either site. Thanks again, folks, for choosing to listen to this show today. We know you have a lot of choices. We appreciate that you chose this one. Until next week, my friends, hit them straight.
You've been listening to Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, where PGA and LPGA legends, pros and top instructors, and media members go to tell their stories. Join us the same time every Saturday to hear more stories about the game we love from the people who love sharing those stories with you. It's all about the great game of golf. It's all about the great game of golf.